You must learn to act as if you've already made it before the world gives you permission. This is not about pretending. It's about becoming. Think about it. The world doesn't reward you for potential. It rewards you for results. But to get results, you need action. And to take consistent, bold, unstoppable action, you need a mindset that says, I'm already that person. Not, I hope to be, not, I'm trying to be, but I am. Right now. Why should you listen to the rest of this speech? Because the one thing standing between where you are and where you dream to be is not a lack of skill or resources or luck. It's how you see yourself. If you want to break through that wall, if you're tired of waiting for the right time, the right people, the right conditions, then this is your moment. Watch closely, listen deeply, because what I'm going to share can completely rewire your path to success. Let me ask you, when you wake up in the morning, do you wake up as the version of you who's chasing the dream or the one who's already living it? The energy is different. The choices are different. The pace is different. When you act as if you've already achieved it, everything changes. You walk into meetings with clarity, not confusion. You speak with conviction, not doubt. You treat time like gold, not sand slipping through your fingers. People notice. Opportunities come, not because of magic, but because you are finally in alignment with your future. I remember starting with nothing, no money, no connections, just a crazy belief. But I didn't wait to feel ready. I started acting like someone who was already running a global business. I carried myself differently. I respected my goals. I respected my time. And that changed everything. This is not a motivational gimmick, it's a strategy. When you live from your vision instead of your circumstance, you stop reacting and start creating. You stop fearing failure because you already see yourself beyond it. You don't shrink from risk, you calculate it and move. And here's the secret most people miss. The world treats you based on how you treat yourself. So if you show up timid, unsure, waiting for permission, you'll keep waiting. But if you show up as if you belong in the room, people will start holding the door open. Success is not for the chosen few. It's for those who choose it daily, loudly, relentlessly. So from this moment on, don't just dream. Don't just plan. Live it. Act it. Be it. Because the world eventually catches up to those who dare to walk ahead of their reality. Success starts in the mind. You must believe you've already won before you actually win. That belief is the foundation of everything else. Most people are waiting for some kind of proof and award, a title, an achievement to start feeling successful. But that's not how it works. Success is never given to those who wait for it. It's earned by those who act from a place of belief long before the results show up. You look around and you see people hesitating. They're talented, smart, even hardworking, but they never quite break through. Why? Because deep down, they don't yet believe they deserve to win. They're working hard, but thinking small. And when your mind is small, your actions shrink. Your voice shrinks. Your courage hides. Eventually, your dreams shrink too. But when you change the way you think about yourself, everything else starts to shift. You don't just see the world differently, you see yourself as capable of changing it. And once you believe you've already won, you stop playing not to lose and start playing to win. That's a completely different energy. You start to show up early, not because someone is watching, but because, that's how winners operate. You speak with clarity, not because you're faking confidence, but because you trust that your voice matters. You make decisions with purpose, not because you have all the answers, but because you know every choice is building a future that already belongs to you. This belief becomes your edge. It fuels you when things get tough. Because they will. There will be days when nothing goes your way, when people doubt you, when your plans fall apart. And on those days, the only thing that keeps you going is the voice inside that says, I was made for this. I already seen the future, and it has my name on it. That mindset is powerful. It's what separates the person who gives up at the first obstacle from the one who sees obstacles as training. When you act like you've already achieved it, failure doesn't scare you. Rejection doesn't paralyze you. Doubt doesn't slow you down. Because, this moment is just a part of the path you've already chosen. You're not chasing something uncertain. You're becoming something inevitable. And people feel that. They respond to that energy. They trust leaders who trust themselves. They follow people who carry a vision. They invest in those who already walk like winners. So don't wait for your big break to believe in yourself. Believe first. Act first. Become first. Then the results will follow. That's not magic, it's mindset. And the moment you truly grasp this, you'll never look at your goals the same way again. You'll stop waiting for success to happen and start living like it already has. Your actions today must reflect the future you're working toward. Walk, talk, and decide like the person you aim to become. Too many people wait until they've made it to start acting successful. They wait until they're rich to act financially responsible, or until they're in leadership positions to behave like leaders. But success doesn't work like that. The world rewards preparation. The future doesn't come to those who wait, it comes to those who build it, one action at a time. When you act like the version of yourself that has already achieved your dreams, you start aligning your behavior with your vision. You become intentional. You no longer waste time because you understand that every hour is a brick in the foundation of your future. You no longer speak like a victim because you understand that language shapes identity. You no longer move with hesitation because you understand that clarity is born from commitment. Ask yourself right now, how does the person I want to become behave every day? What time do they wake up? How they handle stress? How do they treat other people? How they prepare for opportunities? And then ask yourself the harder question, am I living that way now? The truth is, acting like your future self creates alignment, and alignment builds momentum. You don't wait for motivation, you build discipline. You don't wait for applause, you work in silence. You react to life, you direct it. And over time, this consistent, intentional action stacks up into something powerful, results not by chance, but by design. This mindset isn't about faking anything. It's not about pretending you're someone you're not. It's about reaching into the future, grabbing hold of who you're meant to be, and pulling that identity into your current reality through action. And the more you act like that person, the more you become that person. That's how transformation happens. Not overnight, not by accident, but through deliberate action aligned with purpose. Even when no one's watching, even when the world hasn't caught on yet, because that's what the great ones do. They prepare for the opportunity before it shows up. They don't let the current situation define their behavior. They let their vision define it. You can tell who's going to win by how they move when no one's clapping. You can tell who's ready by how they act before the title, before the money, before the stage. It's in the discipline. It's in the choices. It's in the small, invisible decisions that compound over time. So don't wait until life forces you to grow. Choose to grow now. Live now as the person you say you want to become. Let your behavior speak your future into existence. Because the moment your actions match your ambition, the world starts taking you seriously, and eventually it won't have a choice but to believe what you already know. You were built for more. Acting as if you've already succeeded builds a magnetic confidence that attracts real opportunities. Confidence is not arrogance and it's not delusion, it's alignment. It's the quiet, unshakable certainty that you are on the right path, that you are capable, and that the outcome is not a matter of if, but when. And the fastest way to build this kind of confidence is to live from your vision, not your limitations. People can feel real confidence. It doesn't need to shout or prove itself. It doesn't beg for approval. It walks into a room and changes the temperature. That energy draws in conversations, partnerships, investors, mentors, and momentum. Why? Because the world is filled with uncertainty, and people naturally gravitate toward those who carry certainty. Not fake bravado, but earned belief. When you act as if you've already succeeded, you're not pretending. You're operating with clarity. You're saying, I know where I'm going, so I choose to move with conviction now. That confidence becomes your superpower. It turns hesitation into decisiveness, turns insecurity into presence, and turns ideas into execution. Every step you take with certainty creates a ripple effect that pulls opportunities toward you. Think about how many chances are lost simply because someone didn't show up with belief. They downplayed their skills in interviews. They undersold their business in a pitch. They hesitated in a conversation that could have changed everything. Not because they weren't good enough, but because they didn't act like they were ready. Confidence is contagious. When you believe in your value, others start to believe too. When you speak your ideas with boldness, others begin to trust them. When you walk with certainty, the path starts clearing. But this level of confidence only comes when you stop waiting for external validation. It comes when you decide that your identity is bigger than your current results. You must train your mind to reject the idea that you are defined by where you are now. Confidence doesn't come from your current bank account or your current title or how many followers you have. It comes from the internal decision to live aligned with your future. It's the result of choosing to speak, move, and build as if success is not a hope, but an expectation. That doesn't mean you'll never feel fear. It means fear won't control you. It doesn't mean you have all the answers. It means you trust yourself to figure them out. Confidence isn't about being perfect. It's about being committed. And when you commit to showing up as your highest self daily, something powerful happens. The world starts responding to the version of you that you've already decided to become. So don't sit and wait for permission to feel confident. Own your space. Trust your preparation. Speak your vision. Because the moment you act as if you've already succeeded, you start becoming the person the future has been waiting for. And that's when doors start to open, not by accident, but by your energy. When you embody your goal, you naturally prepare for it. You become ready before the chance arrives. This is one of the most overlooked truths about success. Opportunity doesn't wait for you to feel ready. It arrives suddenly, often without warning. And in that moment, it doesn't matter how much potential you have. What matters is whether you are already in position to receive it. That's why preparation is everything. But not just any preparation, the kind that comes from living every single day as if the goal is already yours. Think about an athlete training for the Olympics. They don't wait until they're selected to start eating, right? Training hard or visualizing victory. They live like champions before they're ever called champions. That's what makes them ready. That's what makes them undeniable. And it's no different for you. Whether your dream is to build a company, lead a team, launch an idea, or change your life, the moment you start living from your vision is the moment you start preparing like someone who's already there. Most people prepare backwards. They wait until they get the job to learn the skills. They wait until they start the business to build discipline. They wait until the spotlight hits to find their voice. But that delay is what costs them. Opportunity comes and goes because they weren't already living at the level required to seize it. But when you start thinking like, now speaking like a leader now, creating like a visionary, now you're not surprised when the door opens. You're ready. You've practiced. You've studied. You've built the mindset, the habits, and the emotional muscle. So when your moment comes, you don't hesitate. You step in. You deliver. You rise not because of luck, but because of preparation born from identity. Living this way creates momentum. You don't feel like an imposter when the opportunity arrives because you've already been living as that version of yourself. You've built proof through your daily actions. And that proof becomes your confidence. That's how growth becomes sustainable, not from wishful thinking, but from practice becoming. Every morning is an opportunity to either reinforce the gap between where you are and where you want to be, or to close it. By acting like the goal is already part of your life, you train your body, your speech, your mind to respond in alignment. You start saying no to things that don't serve that vision. You start surrounding yourself with people who push you higher. You start asking better questions because you're not asking from the perspective of a beginner. You're asking from the mindset of someone who's already in the game. So when life tests you, and you don't fold. You don't panic. You pivot. You respond. You adapt. Because you've been preparing for this moment long before it showed up. And that's what makes the difference. Not talent, not timing, but the decision to live your vision today so you're never unprepared tomorrow. When you repeatedly act from your vision, that vision slowly becomes your reality. This is where consistency comes in, not the kind of temporary effort that burns out after a week, but the kind of steady, intentional action that rewires your life one decision at a time. Because dreams don't come true overnight, they become true over time through disciplined repetition and alignment. Most people think they're waiting for the right moment, but the right moment is created, not found. You create it by showing up daily with purpose. You create it by making the hard decisions that align with where you're going, not where you've been. The truth is, your future isn't built in a single breakthrough. It's built in the quiet hours when no one is watching, when the reward hasn't come yet, but you still show up as if it has. This is where many people give up. They start strong, but they expect instant validation. They expect the world to recognize their effort immediately. And when it doesn't, they stop. They slow down. They doubt. But vision doesn't work that way. Vision demands consistency. It demands that you keep building even when there's no applause, that you keep showing up even when the progress is invisible, that you keep speaking like a winner even when the results say otherwise. What you do repeatedly becomes who you are. So if you show up every day with discipline, clarity, and confidence, it doesn't matter what your current results look like, because the process is already shaping the outcome. Each day you make decisions from your future. You're bringing that future closer. You don't need everything to fall into place instantly. You just need to fall into alignment again and again until the habits take root, until your mind evolves, until your reality can't help but catch up. Consistency isn't about perfection. It's about resilience. It's about continuing to act from your vision on the days you feel inspired and the days you don't. It's about knowing that the work you're doing today may not pay off immediately, but it's building the foundation for something far bigger. It's compound growth, not just in results, but in identity. Over time, you start to realize you're no longer pretending. You are that person. You do live that way. Your actions, your choices, your words, they all match the dream you once only imagined. And that's when the shift happens. That's when people start to say, you've changed. But You haven't changed overnight. You've been changing every day in small, deliberate ways. And now the world is just catching up to what you've known all along, that success wasn't a matter of chance. It was a matter of choice, repeated consistently until the future became now. So now you understand this is not just motivation. This is not about hype or fantasy. This is a strategy, a mindset, a decision. The truth is, you don't become successful and then act like it. You act like it, and that's how you become it. You walk, speak, prepare, and move as if the vision already lives inside you. Because it does. And when your actions match that belief, reality begins to bend in your favor. Most people will spend their entire lives waiting for confidence, for the right time, for approval. Don't be most people. Be the one who walks in alignment before the world claps, before the title comes, before the dream manifests. Because the moment you stop treating your vision like a distant fantasy and start living it as your current standard, everything changes.